ask the question, gosh, do I become an employee or do I become an entrepreneur? And we're going to kind of take this next couple of slides here because, Patrick, a lot of people do ask, do I need to go to school for coding? Do I need to go to school for medical billing? And I thought what we could do is kind of shed some light on these two opportunities, these two pathways that there basically someone can take. So obviously, someone could go down the path of medical billing school. But I think when you and Linda started, I don't think either one of you went to medical billing school.
Oh, no, we didn't have any background. In fact, we had a friend who was in the durable medical equipment business, and he just called Linda up one day and said, hey, can you do some medical billing for me? And she said, well, I don't even know what that is. And he brought her into the office, and Eric, literally within a day or two, she was doing the billing for this guy. It's not rocket science. We tell people it's not brain surgery, but you do need to know not just how to do the actual billing, you have to know how to build a business. And that's the difference. Our school teaches you exactly how to start a business and get clients.
Yep, you bet. So, let's take a look at this, Patrick, of cost, of what it's going to cost to go to a medical billing school, and then what is the expected outcome after going through a medical billing school. So we know that there's a couple of different things. Someone can get a diploma, someone can actually get a degree, and so we're going to talk about how long it's going to take. First of all, how to get a diploma in medical billing or coding. Now, folks, in your handout over there on the right-hand side, you can download this, and you'll see that link that we're putting down there, which is the same link where we got this information from. But Patrick, the diploma cost right now is right at $15,500. And some people think, well, that's not too terribly bad. I can go to school for 6 months, but really all I'm working out is with a diploma, a piece of paper that tells me I've gone to school.
Right. Now they got to go find a job working for a doctor's office. But folks, more and more doctors are deciding to outsource. We know that because we see it happen every month as people are signing up doctors from left and right here. And so why would you want to go and pay $15,500 for a diploma just to get a job,
Just to get a job. Yeah, this doesn't prepare you to run a medical billing company. Neither one of these do. So you've got an associate's degree that you can get. It takes you 2 years to get that. That's going to run, again, according to this website, about $24,000. And the expected salary to get out of either one of those is right at $38,700.
And, I hate to even bring this up because it's one of those things that people don't think about it, but you know what? I'm a college dropout, along with Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and others, who decided that a piece of paper just didn't fit their lifestyle. And so I didn't complete my degree, but believe me, I've got a degree. I probably know more about the medical industry and marketing than most college graduates do, for sure.
Yeah. So folks, again, we encourage you to download that. You can get it and review this. Go to that website, check that out about these comparable charts here. But now let's kind of talk about, about working for yourself. Now, you could go spend $15,000 plus what it costs to go on board with us, get that 2-year degree, and then spend that money, or you can just start with us here at American Business Systems. And let's kind of take a look at. We know that our investment, Patrick, is right at $27,000, but they're basically going to learn how to do medical billing, but more importantly, how to run a business and then get a doctor. And so, again, I'm kind of going back to our website, Patrick, which is absystems.com, and I went underneath income potential, and I've just put in basically the numbers that we normally see and hear from our licensees. And really, we know that most of our licensees are actually doing more business than just at least one doctor.
Oh yeah, these numbers are very conservative. We had to start with one because obviously you got to start with one, and that's what we teach in the class, Eric. We're going to show you in this class how to go out from here and next week find your first client. Now, it may not happen the first week, but the point is that we've got all the information you need, and we have about a dozen different ways that we teach to actually market to doctors to sign them up. It's nothing like whatever you're thinking. Whatever you're thinking about as far as marketing to doctors, forget it. Believe me, after trial and error, 25 years, we know what works and what doesn't work. I can tell you how to spend a lot of money trying to market to doctors and never get a client. I did it all back in the early days when my wife started doing medical billing back in the early 90s. Now, of course, we've proven it, and we continue to hone that and refine that every time we do the training. Cynthia, who's our current trainer, you saw her in the picture a while ago. She is just a dynamo when it comes to testing out new marketing methods and making sure it actually works.
You bet. So let's look at the results. Now, remember that if you go to school and get a diploma or an associate's degree, you can potentially make at a full-time 8-hour a day, 5 days a week job, $38,000. With these numbers, and Patrick, you said these are conservative numbers. One doctor that sees 25 patients a day, you're billing at 6% of $100, which, Patrick, I don't know
That's
what doctor charges just $100 just to go see them. But I'm going to click on submit. You take it from here and talk about the potential income here.
Well, as you can see, folks, even with those modest numbers there, it turns out that you can actually make about the same thing you would if you went and found a job after that course, right? So, folks, 39,000 is what that number is, and it's very reasonable. Eric, we have people who have dozens of doctors. So, show them what it breaks down to there.
Yeah. So, folks, again, we have to talk about average earnings. You know, these are not set in stone, but obviously we're working with one doctor that sees patients 5 days a week. And when you're doing that billing, this is how it kind of breaks down. Because remember, we're talking 6% of $100. So if you just do the math, it's very easy. That's going to earn you about $150 a day. Now, for most folks, Patrick, $150 a day isn't too bad. But this is what it breaks down to. This is what's the exciting part about it is that, you know, it's about $750 a week, $39,000 a year, averaging 2 hours a day.
Yes, because if you were doing, 25 claims a day, that's 125 claims for the week. Eric, 25 claims, they can do that in 2 hours easily. In fact, when you come to the live workshop, as you'll see from some of the things we're going to show you, some of the pictures, we bring in laptops, we set them there in front of people, and the first day, by the end of the first day, Eric, they're doing medical billing. They've done several claims. They're all fake, of course, but we're actually connected through the internet, through our cloud-based system, and people are just really, this was the first time I'd sat through that whole session, Eric, yesterday, day before, and it was fascinating to watch the realization on people's faces that this is not hard to do. In fact, at the end, we kind of say, okay, does anybody want to do some more claims? And they go, no, we're fine. We got this down. Now let's get to how to market to doctors, you know.
So here's the exciting thing, Patrick. If we kind of just take a look at this, if you're going to work 8 hours a day, well, that means I have to put that 39,000 times 4, which means I'm going to have 4 doctors.
Right.
Wow, that's what does that come out to be? 40 times 4 basically is
150,000 maybe, or somewhere close.
$158,000 a year. So, folks, that's not bad for
folks,
working.
Here's the disclaimer. You'll see that on the website, but not everybody makes that kind of money. Not every doctor will generate that kind of income. This is all individually, but that's why we put the calculator on there. Go to our website and plug in your own numbers. You make the decision as to how much you think you want to make based on the numbers that you plug in there. You don't think in your area you can charge 6%. In other areas, I know you can get 7 or 8%. But the point is that no matter what it is, it's still per hour more than most people are making on any job.
Yeah, and here's the other cool thing about it. We really don't ever show this much, but I went right back over here. You can see where it says income replacement calculator. Folks, you can go over there, put in what you're maybe making right now or what you would like to make, and it's going to tell you how many doctors is going to take you to actually get there. So we do have some of the tools on there. If you've never seen that, Patrick and I are trying to show you some things that we normally don't talk about on webinars, but trying to highlight some of those things so that you can know that you can actually go to our website and then find this information. So it truly is really good for us to kind of show that. So,
by the way, Eric, you mentioned that we had scheduled Melissa to be on here today as an
yeah,
interview. I'm going to try to get her for this either next week or the next. But the point is, she was so busy. She's got so much business that she had to meet with some of her doctors. They didn't have any other time to meet, and they wanted to meet right at the end of the day. And so she's right there right now, a meeting with a couple of doctors. But it's great when we hear back from licensees. All the time we hear from them. And then I try to do interviews with people to share that with the people who are thinking about getting into it. And Eric, we've got licensees that people on the webinar today can call, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, just ask us. We'll supply you names. The people all over the country, people that have been with us over 15 years. Some people have been with us for 5 years. Some people have been with us just about a year. So yes, absolutely. We'd love to get that out to you. Folks, let me remind you that feel free to ask us a question. We're going to be monitoring that throughout the presentation today. So if you feel as though you want to ask us a question, put it over there. We'll see what we can do to answer it. And if we can't get it right now, Patrick, we know that we can get that to the appropriate person and we'll get that answered for them. But as we kind of start this, we're going to say this is where your journey starts here. Your journey starts here with ABS right here, and let's kind of talk about where it really begins. And it kind of began the same place with Cynthia's where these folks are, but kind of take us on Cynthia's journey. You actually interviewed her last week, so kind of tell us where she was and really obviously what she's doing today for us.
And I think your screen's paused because we don't see Cynthia, but
yep, there you go.
There she is. Okay, well, what can I say about Cynthia, folks? She is an amazing instructor. You will not even doze off. I mean, she keeps you doing stuff. This is a hands-on interactive workshop, most of it. Lots of good information that she gives, and in such a way that it's entertaining, and it's stories from her own business. Folks, like Eric said, she's been in business with us for, I think it was 2008 that she came to the training herself, Eric. And so now for the past, Eric, three years, maybe at least, she's been training people how to do this, and she absolutely loves it. You will see that in her attitude, in the way she conveys things, very pleasant, very easygoing. She doesn't force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do during that workshop. It's all business, folks. There's no rah-rah here. We're not going to get you up on the tables dancing. This is business, and we're going to show you how to you want a return on your investment, and that's all we focus on in this class. This is I think this is a different class here. It's a little bit larger, isn't it? Yeah.
It is.
Right. Yeah. But we hold these. Well, Eric's going to tell you where we hold them, but basically it's in a hotel here near Dallas Fort Worth Airport. And folks, it's just a very great time for you to focus, get away from the rest of your life and say, this is the beginning, the start of my new business that's going to make me and my family not only a lot of money, but give us the freedom that we've been looking for. You'll love it when you set through this, believe me.
You bet. So there she is. But Patrick, you kind of said that there was 26 sections of our training class, and I try to put as many on here just to kind of show a taste of what they're going to get during the live training workshop.
Yeah, it's just amazing how this is all scheduled out step by step. Remember, we've been doing this a while, right? So we've just been honing this and tweaking it. Eric, every time we do the training, it's a little bit different because we learn new things and stuff changes and new stuff comes into play, new ideas on how to market. All of this is crammed into that 40-hour week, basically. You'll get a mini MBA in this business during the week.
You bet. So, I mean, there's just a ton of information that we're going to go through. And obviously, we know that we have 9 different services. And basically, we're going to kind of go through each of those services, Patrick, and kind of how they're being instructed on during the training workshop. But the 2 that stand out the most is iClaim and EMRX. And why don't you kind of share a little bit about this whole software nucleus here?
Yeah, what you're looking at here, folks, is just a little illustration of the fact that we have everything that you need already worked out step by step in the whole, and this, of course, is showing our cloud-based system. Eric, this is probably the best part of being in this business, is that you can work from anywhere in the world that has an internet connection. And as you can see, you can use tablets, any kind of computer, Mac, PC, phones, Androids, iPhones, it doesn't matter. and it's all perfectly integrated. It's the greatest way to do a business that I've ever seen in my life. And folks, it's cloud-based, which means it's on servers that we have in different parts of the country, of course, for redundancy in case something did happen. But Eric, in the 20 years we've been doing this, we haven't had any downtime. So when people ask me what's my downtime, I tell them, well, less than 1%, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's really about it. Patrick, I've got a question here from Oscar, and Oscar is asking, well, how do you get doctors to use the service? And I think that's one of the things that we really focus on during the training class. I think one way, Oscar, that you can learn how that is to schedule a live demo of the system with whoever asked you to come to the webinar today. That will actually show you how we help you get doctors to use the service, because it truly is phenomenal.
Yeah, we see the faces of people as they go through the marketing part of this with like shock and awe on their faces, because
Right.
they're expecting it to be something, and then when it's completely different. See, we've had people in our classes, there's some in this class that have a marketing background, they've been in business or they've been in sales even, and we tell them, guys, as we go through this marketing now, ask all the questions you want, but trust us, this works. And Eric, it's such a mind-blowing experience for them, because they think that they're going to go do a certain thing to market, maybe knock on doors or make phone calls and that kind of thing. And that's not what we do. We
No.
get the point where the doctor's calling you. We give them educational materials that makes them go, oh man, maybe I need to get that free practice analysis that they're offering here in this book, and I'm going to call them. And that's how people get business, is just educating doctors. They love to be educated. They love to learn something new. And by showing them the demo that you just mentioned, Eric, they're actually able to see the system that they will be using, because you see from this integrated diagram here, the I-claim part of it is the practice management system. That's what does the billing. You have access to that. They have access maybe to parts of it, but not everything, of course. The scheduler, for example, and the reports. Then built into this, of course, is our electronic medical record system that the doctor uses on the iPad or the tablet when he's actually seeing the patient. That's all integrated. You see everything, he sees everything. And then, of course, we're the only company out there that has a built-in clearinghouse. Just
Yes.
Google clearinghouse and find out what that is, folks. But basically, it's a third-party entity, a company that just scrubs the claims and reformats it and then forwards it on to the insurance company. Well, we've got that all built into our system. We don't literally have to have a third party, but we call it a clearinghouse because, well, it's in our system. And then Eric, could you tell them about the patient portal? That one to me is the future.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the patient portal automatically comes with the entire system, and it actually gives a new level of communication with patient and doctor, because now not only can I just type messages or send a secured email to my doctor through the patient portal, but I can actually have a live visit, just as you see Patrick and me today on our webinar today. Right. Patrick could be the doctor, I could be the patient, and that's built into this EMRX and this patient portal part of it, right, which is known as telemedicine. And we know, since we're in the business opportunity / franchise fields, that Patrick, that is actually that's something that's out there as a standalone franchise.
Yeah, they call it telemedicine. We refer to it as e-visits.
Yeah.
But folks, it is the future. Now, they're not all doctors don't do this yet. But once they have our system, they realize that they can start actually charging the patients, in many cases, for an e-visit. In other words, they don't have to touch the patient. All they need to do is talk to them. And because it's kind of like a Skype, like we're doing here, but the difference is it's all HIPAA compliant. It's all very private, and the patient doesn't have to worry about the whole world knowing about their disease.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, one of the other things, so we're going to take those platforms and these two services, iClaim and EMRX, and beginning with starting to teach you what's revenue cycle management. So that's obviously one of the certifications you're going to get with us. Patrick, it's interesting to, I mentioned to you yesterday that I had to take my wife to the doctor, and so obviously I get a chance to talk with the doctor and their nurses and stuff. And as the lady came in to kind of start taking some of the information from my wife, and I just simply says, I see that you're using paper, Patrick, paper. this,
I
and
know
she's taking down all the notes. Really, I was shocked about this. This was a young doctor, and I said, I asked the nurse there, I said, so are you doing your notes on paper? And this is what she said, I promise you. She goes, yes, we take our notes on paper, but at the end of the day, we've got to go type in all of the stuff on our EMR system, which is eClinicalWorks. And she goes, I hate it. I hate this whole process that I have to write out the note and then go type it in. It's just amazing what doctors.
The difference for the doctor is this: with our system, he can actually the notes are created as he sees the patients. It's built for him by the system. Or at the end, he can type in or dictate into his iPad and put his notes right in there and be done with it. I mean, literally within 2 minutes, he could be done. Do you know what doctors do that are doing it on paper, or even like they're retyping and so forth? They spend hours after hours. Yeah.
They do.
And they don't like it, but they don't know any other answer. Now, Eric, if this was a young doctor, of course, he might not have had a system because he's heard that it costs thousands of dollars to put one of those systems in his office. With ours, for just a little small setup fee, you can have that doctor up and running in no time, and they don't have to invest anything up front, big numbers up front at least.
You know what? It's almost so funny. If people were to say, well, how do I find these target markets? Well, folks, this was a specialty surgeon. I know he's already using one platform called eClinicalWorks, which is about 3 times as much as what ours costs.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I could almost say his name to anybody that's on here and say, that's a potential doctor right there. I've already done the analysis with this one doctor, that someone could go in there and start marketing directly to that one doctor and change the entire way that they do business.
And many licensees have reported that they've literally changed the doctor's thinking about whether he's going to stay in practice or go to work for a hospital.
Yes.
Many doctors, when they realize that they can raise their revenue by 30%, let's say, that is very motivating for them because they want to stay in private practice. They don't want to work for somebody else, but a lot of them are being forced to because it's just too expensive to, run a practice nowadays. Lots of questions coming in here too, Eric. So I don't know where some of these fit in, but there's one there from Raymond.
If you see that one, maybe you could answer that one for him. But as you're kind of looking at that one there, Patrick, and reading it, folks, one of the things that we're going to talk with you about during this training is where do you target your market? Where do you focus in? And folks, it's not just you think with just the chiropractors. And a lot of people would say, can I target market to dentists? Let me say this, dental billing and medical billing are 2 separate things. Now, we've done a complete webinar on that, but just to know that we focus in our marketing techniques on medical billing, not anything on dental billing. So, but we can talk with you about that at a later date. Patrick, you want to grab Raymond's question there?
Yeah, he says, what is the the biggest complaint that you get from franchisees? Well, Raymond, I know you find this hard to believe. You could ask our support department because we don't get a lot of complaints, but the biggest challenge for licensees is thinking like a business owner. In other words, if you've never run a business before, you need to think like a business owner, which means you got to be focused on not just building your business, but also managing on the back end. See, what happens is people will get one doctor, and like you said, they're spending a couple hours there. If they get 3 more doctors, they're spending the full 8 hours, and they may not want to work more hours than that. Now, what do you do when you get another referral from one of those doctors?
Yeah.
Well, with our network of licensees, of course, you can turn that over to another licensee, split the profits with them. You can do all kinds of things with this business, folks. It's up to you. You have to make that decision yourself. Most people continue doing it themselves and just refer those references to some other licensee, but others have worked it out so that they hire people. There's easy ways to find people who can do the medical billing, since it's a cloud-based system, from their home, and you just manage those through our cloud-based system.
You bet. And talking about that web-based system, we're going to just briefly kind of give you a little overview about iClaim. It's what's known as a practice management system. So it's not just what we think of as a medical billing piece of software. It truly is, Patrick, an entire management system for that doctor, where the front office uses it to schedule their patients and check what's called insurance eligibility. Do you want to explain what insurance eligibility is all about, Patrick, and how important that is?
Yeah, a lot of insurance companies have guidelines, restrictions, rules for what will and won't be covered, see? So when you go in to see a doctor, if your insurance has expired, for example, or anything else is wrong with your insurance, you hadn't made the payment or whatever, that's going to show up in our system literally in real time. We go out to the database of the insurance company for that patient and show you right there. I guess those little, aren't the yellow and green buttons, what that is,
Yep.
Eric?
Uh-huh.
And so you see it right there on the screen. So does the personnel, the staff in the doctor's office. It's a wonderful way to run a business, believe me.
Yep, an entire way. And Barbara, you're asking how much is the classes and training? We don't sell anything separately. So what we've got is this whole package. So everything that you're going to see today is all inclusive, which is the training, all the 9 services, all the marketing pieces that we're going to go through. It's a one-time fee of $26,990, right at $27,000. So hopefully that kind of helps that out. And then Oscar, your question is, what does the franchise fee include? It includes everything that we're going through this afternoon. So there's nothing that's being left out. So everything you see today is all included in this entire part of it. Now, Patrick, you mentioned, oh, go ahead.
Oh, well, I was going to say there's a whole section on the website too. At the top there, if you go to absystems.com, it says right there what's included in the package, and then it breaks it down, all the different services, and there's a little bitty link there. You got to look for it, but it says, you know, what's included in the package. It'll basically break down all the materials, the marketing materials, the books, the manuals, and so forth that comes in the package as well.
You bet.
Somebody's asking if there's any licensees in their city, and we don't address that type of question on this webinar, folks, just for time, because everybody would then want to know that. We encourage you to get back with the person who invited you to this webinar, and they can give you that information about that.
You bet. We'd love to be able to do that. So, Patrick, we know that just a couple of days ago, you'd mentioned this just a while ago on the webinar, that after an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, however long it is, there's this hands-on training of putting patient registration information in there, filling out a super bill, which kind of goes along with what Jack's question is. I'm assuming that you're using the ICD-10 codes. Yes, we are. Those are always up to date because, as Patrick mentioned, iClaim in and of itself is a web-based system. So anytime that any updates come on, it's just they're live. It's just automatically always happening behind the scenes.
It's behind the scenes, right? When you log into our system, you're using the latest codes that are out there. Ours is always 100% up to date because we have certified medical coders that's all their job is to make sure our codes in our system are up to date.
So what you're going to see here over the next part is just some of the things these are some of the things that actually happened this last week. And so Patrick, you mentioned that we provide laptops for people to just start hammering out claims.
Yeah, I mean, this is really a workshop, folks, because you are actually putting in, the lady you see there in that picture, for example, she's actually putting that in right now. Well, they're sitting there waiting, but as you can see that screenshot, that is our system. And they're actually taking some papers that the instructor gave them as if they came from a doctor. There's a super bill, there's a patient information form, and they enter that right into our system. And it blows their mind that they're actually using our cloud-based system live right there from the hotel. We connect to the internet there, and we have our own little connection box that makes the Wi-Fi, of course, a little stronger. Sometimes they're weak at a hotel. But yeah, it's real-time billing, folks, and you'll love it if you've used server-based software. You know, server-based, that means it comes on one of these. You know, remember these?
What is that?
But yeah, there are companies who their software it comes on a CD and you install it and you have all the updates and it's a hassle.
Yeah. So this is an example, a really sample of what's going to happen here, that you're going to log into iClaim, or actually it'll be already up. So we're just kind of showing some screenshots of what those folks were going to. We're going to show you to go over here to billing, and obviously we're going to go right over here where it says professional claim charges, and so we're going to click on that because that's what it's known here in our industry is what's called professional claims charges. We're going to find the patient inside iClaim because that was inputted by you on that patient intake form. So you're going to learn how to actually put in patients in there. The great thing, Patrick, is I love to show it live during a demo for anybody that wants to see that, because we get to actually not just find the patients in our system, but we can actually go find patients in the insurance companies and then pull that information into our system. That's what's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And then we go through, you're gonna get the codes in, and as Jack was asking, do we do ICD-10? Obviously we have to, because that's the new codes that there. Right down here in the left-hand corner, we'll put in the ICD-10 code there. And then now we're gonna go through this other information. And so as you can kind of see here, as it starts to populate, you'll just be typing this information. And Patrick, what a great way that people get their hands on how to process a medical claim in our iClaim system.
Yeah, our instructor has it up on the screen, of course, while you're looking at your screen, and they tell you every step of the way what to click on and what to do next. And then we have people who assist with that. If you get stuck or something, you can raise your hand and they'll come over and help you. So it's a wonderful, that's the first time I'd sat through it, Eric, and I was blown away by how complete it is. By the end, everybody's just going, well, that wasn't as hard as we thought it was going to be. What's next?
Yeah. Let's get in. Show me how to get a doctor now. That's what we. Let's get. Okay, we got it. How all this works. Now let's go into this. But then following the iClaim side of it, it's always good to know, Patrick, about EMR, or like electronic medical records. And so, our EMRX platform, as you've already said, it's a cloud-based, all-in-one certified EHR system that is fully integrated with iClaim. And that's so key, because there's so many EMR systems that are not integrated with their practice management system.
Yeah, their practice management system was written by one group of programmers. The electronic medical records is by a different one. Their patient portal is by a different one. They send it to a third-party clearinghouse. Folks, we've solved all of the challenges that were there for medical billers. And so the doctor, once they see the demo, well, Eric, about half of those doctors end up doing business with our licensees. So that tells you we're doing a pretty good job on those demos.
Yeah.
We do the demos. You don't. Our staff does those for you. We have an online way to arrange the times that the doctor would like to see it, and we set all that up through email, and it's all automated.
Yeah, and then we actually take you through a demo while you're in class,
Right.
And we show you on a GoToMeeting. We can actually, for anybody that's on here today, if you haven't seen a live demo, let's repeat that. Get back with your person that asked you to come to the webinar and schedule one. You're just shortchanging yourself if you haven't scheduled that yet. So get with whoever and show that, and we'll show you how it can be customized. We can show you how it's connected to all the major labs for viewing lab orders and automatically getting all that uploaded underneath there. And Patrick, you said something a while ago, and I kept waiting to get to this particular slide, but it's amazing that with our system, they can touch through their notes, they can talk or type their notes in here. So they can literally have dictation right into that iPad.
Eric, Cynthia told the class something today I didn't realize. She said that the manufacturers are making lab coats now with the pockets on the side that fit the iPad perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's an amazing system. I'm blown away with it every time I see a demo of it. Eric did one live for the class just yesterday, and they all just cannot believe that we've got something so advanced over what the doctors are. You're going to be. They're in the horse and buggy days out there in the doctor's offices.
They really are. I mean, whenever they can see on their side, Patrick, you kind of mentioned these little dots right here beside these patients' names, and what that's indicating, not only to the staff and not only to the billing company, but really for the first time in the doctor's side of what they do, it's actually showing the doctor whether somebody at the front desk has actually verified somebody's insurance. And this is actually communicating to the doctor, hey, I'm about to see two patients. One, like Holly Marshall's, her insurance is not, if my biller files this claim, I'm not going to get paid on that.
Yeah, and that makes a huge difference to the doctor, folks, because think how many patients they must see without our type of real-time checking, eligibility checking. how much time they waste seeing a patient that they're never going to get paid for it, because
Never get
unless the
paid.
patient actually coughs up the money, which is rare.
Yeah, yeah. So, but it's a very easy system for them to go through. Again, we would just love to spend the whole webinar, be able to kind of go through all that, but obviously we don't have the time. Patrick, I'm looking at the clock. We're about 15 minutes to the hour already,
Wow.
so we've got lots to try to get through. So
Hey,
I'm going to kind of flip through these here, just so that you can kind of chat about the other 7. We talked about 2 of the services. Now we're going to talk about the other 7, and let's just start off with CodeWrite.
hey, can I just pause to answer a few of these questions? I want to try to get to as many of those live as we can, Eric. So let's see. Barbara says, I have a medical billing and coding degree, so I know the potential. But let me emphasize, Barbara, for the other people, that you don't have to have any kind of degrees in billing and coding, because again, all the codes are built into our system. She's just saying that the potential must be there. Barbara's asking how much. I guess that has to do with that licensing fee, which is
Sure.
on our website. It's $27,000. What does the support include? Oscar wants to know. Oh, well, you have a whole section on that, I think, Eric, don't you?
We do.
Okay. How do the licensees keep updated with the always changing regulations and requirements, says Oscar. Well, that's interesting, because we have ongoing weekly, most every week, webinars for our licensees, where we're continually updating you and teaching you and training you on all that. That's included in your license fee. Folks, our license fee is a one-time, that's it, one-time license fee, lifetime.
Yeah.
It lasts for your life. And so you never pay for that ongoing support and training. Are territories assigned, says Oscar? No. Let's see. Courtney, are you able to toggle between practices within iClaim, or do you have a separate login for each practice that you do business with? Eric, you want to address that one?
Yeah, Courtney, there's 2 types of logins. You're going to have what's called a super user login for like yourself. So Courtney, you'd be able to see all of your doctors, so you could toggle in between each one. However, if you've got assigned people working for you and you want them to work on just one doctor, then you take that one particular employee or contractor and give them that one particular login, and then they can't get into the rest. So obviously, you as a super user, you can see everything.
Yeah. Mario wants to know, does the iClaim portal come with the small business management tools, for payroll and taxes, or do I have to hire somebody else? Mario, no. This is a practice management system for the doctor's office and for their cash flow, for their billing. For your business, you're running a business too, right? Separate from the doctors. Yes, you'll need something like QuickBooks. That's what most people use for all their stuff. And then you probably have to turn all your tax stuff over to somebody at the end of the year, of course, like a CPA.
Sure. All right.
Says, who provides tech support if problems arise? Oh, you're going to show that here in just a second, a picture of our support team. How does your system make sure the documentation supports the charges? Oh, that's a good one, Jack's asking that.
Yeah.
Eric, you want to address that? How does your system make sure that, the charges that the doctor's putting in there, it's supported by the documentation?
You bet. I mean, that's awesome. And Jack, obviously you need to see a demonstration, so it's because if we go through the EMR side of it, it actually does the billing. It keeps up with the timing. It keeps up with the history that's been done by the doctor. It codes all of that, or it gives a suggested code based upon that. So it makes sure that we're charging, that the codes that we're utilizing, which we're kind of talking about right now about the CodeWrite, if you need to have that separately, but if the doctors are using our EMR system, it will actually code properly for the correct charges. It's amazing. And whenever I'm showing that to doctors, they go, this is the easiest thing I've ever seen.
You actually hear wows and gasps, don't you, Eric, from the doctors and their staff, because they did not know this kind of thing, was available. Okay, Eric, if you want to go through the ancillary services, I'm just going to whip right through these. This is the first one, folks, CodeWrite. Now, for those of you who are wondering, what if the doctor has questions about codes? They're supposed to give those to you, but what if they don't know and they need some help? We have a service that you can offer that you make money on, and our certified medical coders, our coders, do all that for you. Medical charts are securely scanned up into our work queue and so forth, and we get all that information back to you. And it's a great service that you can offer to the doctors. They love this because they don't have to hire a coder.
Bet.
Okay, this one's Audit Guard. Now, this one's because every doctor that sees Medicare patients is under the microscope from Medicare. They can pop in the door anytime, can't they, Eric? Say, oh, it's time for your audit, and they'll look at some patient records. Now, if the doctor has overcoded, that means he's used codes for something maybe he didn't do, or it was a visit that was only 10 minutes, but he put in a code for 30 minutes. They catch that, and they can fine the doctor up to $10,000 for every one of those they find. The doctors are scared to death about that because it then gets out in the public. The whole world knows that they were audited and they failed, So this guards them against that. It's a great online web-based system that we've come up with to help the doctor keep from being audited by Medicare and fined. Compliancy Guard is something similar to that. There's all kinds of rules and regulations for doctors like HIPAA and all those others that I don't know what they mean. You can save the doctor huge fines from Medicare for non-compliance by providing this service. It helps them to comply. Eric, I walked in one time to a doctor's office and said, "Who is your compliancy officer?" Yeah. I thought they were going to pass out because inside their head they thought, we don't have a compliancy officer. They didn't know who I was. Anyway, the point is, guys, this service guards them against those kinds of rules and regulations that they could be breaking and be fined for as well. And then it has ongoing training for any new regulations that come out.
Can you imagine you're walking in like you're dressed today? You're in a nice shirt and a jacket, and you walk in and go, "Who's your compliancy guard?" They're probably waiting for you to open up your jacket and go, "Well, I am the compliance
badge." Right.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
That brings up a good point. All of these services we're talking about, you don't have to offer any of them. They're all just stuff we've come up with for you to have multiple streams of income. And a lot of people just use these for door openers, just like we just mentioned. You walk in the door and ask them about their compliancy officer, and they will let you talk to them about that. Quick collect. Yeah. Oh gosh, where do I even start with this? Doctors don't collect but about half of all the money that they bill to patients. Well, we've got a solution for that, folks, and it's not a collection agency. You're not a collection agency. You don't do anything. It's automated technology behind the scenes that can replace the need for a collection agency. And Eric, we collect up to 41% of all outstanding patient balances.
That's correct. Yeah.
Collection agencies don't collect near that. Choice pay. A lot of doctors and practices have a hard enough time collecting on the front end as well. So this gives patients a choice in how they want to pay. We let them pay by check or credit card any way they want to, and as much as they want to, as often as they want to. So it's an easy payment plan for the patients without having to be approved, from credit bureaus and so forth. Then there's iDocs Now. You've seen all those folders in a doctor's office when you walk in there, folks. They have to keep all those records for 7 years. That's why they're back there, because that's not all current patients. That's all history, most of it. Yeah. But this service can provide a cloud-based document management system. That means it's 100% HIPAA compliant, and they can scan in all of their papers that they currently have into this system and have access to it from any device in the world that has an internet connection. It guards against loss, and of course, it allows multiple users to look at those documents as well. Am I going fast enough here, Eric?
No, this is the last one. I wish we could spend an entire webinar, and maybe we need to really dive into every one of these, but we're just kind of giving a showcase here of some of the things that they're going to learn during the training class, but this is the last of the 9 services that we have so far.
Yeah, I've got another call I need to be on here at 5, so let me just cover this one. This is my favorite one. I wish I could spend a whole webinar on this. Maybe we ought to do one, like you said. Online, this is cloud-based customer relationship manager. That means all of the people that you run across, prospective clients, you put into this system. Then it has over 18,000 pre-designed cards. Now, folks, these are not e-cards. These are physical greeting cards that are printed out, mailed for you. This is all by automation. You're not doing any of this, but you can set up these campaigns for the doctor to bring the patients back in. They're printed, stamped. They're great for follow-up and for you to use for prospective clients. And you can offer it to practices as a service, and a do-it-yourself version is available for them as well. But you can make a lot of money off of this one service. And by the way, this is one of the services that can be offered to all kinds of businesses, not just doctors. Eric, got to run. Thank you so much for coming up with this webinar today. And if we hadn't get to your questions, folks, we will, or we'll send them back to the people who invited you to the webinar. Thanks again. I hope I see all of you at one of our upcoming upcoming workshops that are out there. Bye for now.
You bet. Thanks, Patrick. And folks, as he exits here, that was just part of all of the marketing pieces, techniques, how to use those to get past the gatekeeper, how to get in front of the doctor, how to use that in your Chamber of Commerce meetings, how to, folks, we're going to cover every aspect, every avenue that's going to get you in front of a doctor. We know here at ABS that is the greatest thing that people want to know is, I love this business, I love the model, I want to work from home, I love to spend just a couple of hours a day and do make, you know, $150 a day, but obviously I've got to have a doctor to do that. And so the rest of this whole webinar has been on what we do to help you provide that marketing campaign working as you're building this business. And one of the things that does the best part of that is the thriving new medical practice, because folks, what you're going to get as part of the entire package that you've seen so far, which is everything that we go through our training class about, and that is the new Thriving Medical Practice book. This is a book. It's an actual book. I think you can see my copy of it right back up over there. And we mark those with little tabs, and you're able to leave that with the doctor, and it has your name on the front of the book who wrote the foreword of the book. Now, if you like our already pre-written foreword to the book, then keep it and use it for your own. If you want to write your own, we'll give you the permission to write your own. That's the freedom that we give you as a licensee here. So after you've read the book, after you've read the book and you want to tweak the forward of the book, feel free to do that. Just get us your copy. We'll make sure that it goes through an editor, make sure that it's saying what it needs to say, and we might go back and forth a little bit. But folks, we're trying to make this as personal for you as if you were out there all doing your own thing, using our 24 and a half years of experience and getting out there in the market and going out there and building a business. Some of you may want to work hand in hand with a sales group or a sales rep, and we're going to show you how to develop that sales rep and how to find them, how to interview them, how to hire them, how to train them, and even how to pay them. So this is, a lot of people think of as a sales rep as a substitute of your marketing. Folks, I would see this as a partnership with your marketing. So don't think that you just get in this business, I'm going to hire some sales reps, and then I'll be able to sit back at home. Folks, you have to have a relationship with these doctors, because, again, you are taking care of how those doctors actually get paid. One of the really, as we're kind of now just diving into this, and we've got just a few minutes left here, but you're going to learn how to do the critical part of the business, which is a practice analysis, and that's collecting the information from the doctor. Who's doing their billing? Is it outsourced? Is it done in-house? How much are they spending on if it's outsourced? You know, what systems are they using? How much are they spending on using those systems? How much is it costing them to actually have their billing outsourced? Pull it all together, put it in this report, and 9 times out of 10, that potential impact on their practice, that dollar amount there at the bottom, is typically a 2-digit percentage number. And you can see right there where it says monthly revenue increase of 17%. That's another $26,000 with this particular doctor, another $26,000 a month. I mean, most doctors would be happy if you got half of that, or even a quarter of that, much more in their pockets. And that's even after all of the expenses of what they're paying you for getting in this business. So it's not, they're going to get another $26,000 and plus, oh, I've got to pull out what I'm going to pay my biller as the medical billing company. That's already added in. That's already calculated out of that's the actual increase there. Someone asked about support, so I'm going to kind of quickly go through support again. We've got just a couple of minutes here, but at the end of the training, we're going to introduce you to our director of support. His name's Chad Borland. He's going to be able to help you through that. Plus, we have back-end ABS support to help you out through whatever thing that you might need to be helpful with there. We have a licensee support site, and And at this time of our webinar, we really don't have time to go through all of this. Maybe, again, we'll just set up a complete webinar where we kind of just go through and take our time through our licensee support site. But we show you how to get started. We talk through all the services, all the marketing, the tools, the resources, anything and everything that you're going to need. Again, this is another part where Patrick mentioned that just about every Friday, we do a separate webinar just for our licensees, and then all of those go on our licensee support site. Like the ones that we do for you on Wednesdays, those all go on our YouTube page that's made public to everybody. But these are secured on our licensee support site, talking about all sorts of things there. And then finally, we certify you. You don't have to go get a diploma. You don't have to go get a degree. You don't even have to go get a certification from anybody else. We are one all-inclusive training, support, and certification company that will get you prepared to be out there. And you can put those initials CMRM after your name and show your certification.